speaking of conspiracies and all this kind of stuff, I want to bring in a new segment
Yes.
where I'm going to say that I believe in crazy conspiracies and you got to prove me wrong.
And I've got to prove you wrong.
Yeah. So you take the average person's argument on why it's not the fact.
Yep.
And I take the argument on why it is.
You take the fact of what it is.
Yeah.
All right, we can do that.
Okay. So I'm just going to go out and say that the world is flat. So change my mind. How is the world not flat?
Well, you've been on an aeroplane.
What does that mean? Airplanes could fly if it was flat.
So, you know when you go stand at the ocean?
Yeah.
And you can't see anything anymore?
That's because of clouds?
No.
Yes.
So have you seen a boat sail off into the distance?
Yeah. And then you see clouds and it's gone.
And you see the boat disappear?
Do you realize I can't see? There are multiple parts to that. One, I can't see that far.
Well,
So
you can
there's a level of how far.
You can get a big enough telescope to see that.
Well, one, I don't.
Well, you can do that.
Yeah,
so
well,
that's
I
easy.
haven't, so that doesn't prove anything.
But
also, the clouds and the stuff in the air. Like
so if the Earth was flat, how do you think the Earth would be?
Flat.
Yeah, so you'd be able. If the Earth was flat, then you'd be able to see everywhere, wouldn't you?
No, I just covered that. Why we wouldn't be able to see
Why wouldn't you be able to see
Because
everywhere?
I don't have infinite vision.
Well, you'd be able to get a telescope to have infinite vision and see everywhere if the Earth was
As
flat.
I said, there's stuff in the way. There's the clouds and all the smog and all that kind of crap in the
Not
sky.
necessarily. Because if the Earth was flat, it wouldn't matter where the clouds are.
What?
Well, if the Earth's flat like this and the clouds are up here and it's all flat, then it doesn't matter about the clouds.
You haven't noticed that there's things that...
Yeah, so
and
that's
also
why it's
even the
round.
idea that the Earth is flat doesn't mean that it's perfectly flat. Obviously, there's going to be ups and downs because there's hills and mountains and all that kind of stuff.
You just said it was flat, and so it's not flat. It's round.
Oh my God. The idea that there are... I didn't say it in the sense that there's no hills or...
Okay, how do we
inclines or-
have day and night? How do we have sunlight and darkness then?
What are you talking about? That doesn't mean that the Earth is round.
Well, then how do we get... How do things change? How does the day become light and then darker then?
Because of the sun.
So then where does the sun go at night? Does it go
moves
backwards
around.
and it moves? There you go. You just said it moves around.
Yes, but around actually doesn't technically mean round. It means around as in different places.
So you just said it yourself. The sun moves around.
No, I didn't.
You just said
yeah. I said
it
it moves
moves
around.
around.
I didn't say it moves
So-
around the flat the round.
So it
Earth.
goes around the world.
I didn't say that.
If
You're
it was
saying is
flat,
it-
you would say it goes flat across something, not
No, I
around
wouldn't.
something.
No, I wouldn't because around doesn't mean something in a circle.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't.
Around does mean in a circle.
Do you want me to get the dictionary definition of around up?
Yes, please.
So, located or situated on every side so as to face in the opposite direction. So, it's actually the
There you
located
go.
located or situated on every side.
On every. So
does
that's
not-
multiple sides that you just said around. So
There
you're
are
saying-
multiple sides of the flat Earth.
How are there multiple sides of a flat Earth?
What on earth are you talking about? There's different parts. Obviously, there's different sides.
You just said the whole Earth was flat.
Yes. So there are different sides.
Well, that's different to the Earth being flat, is it
No,
not?
it's not. Well, what happens? Does it just keep going on forever? Is what you think I'm saying?
Well, I don't. You're the one who's
Well,
got
you're
the
making
flat
really
Earth.
technically weird points.
I am making technically weird points because you're
yes,
wrong.
I'm saying that at the edge there are edges, so each of those edges are different sides. A triangle has sides, does it not?
Yes.
So does that mean that it's a round?
So you're saying the Earth is a box?
It's flat and it has sides. It doesn't have to be a box, just needs to have sides of some type because obviously it's going to end somewhere.
So where does the Earth end?
In Antarctica.
And then Antarctica, does it?
Yeah.
Where else does it end if it's flat?
Antarctica goes around.
So you're saying that the end of the Earth is Antarctica?
Yeah. Prove it wrong.
Doesn't make any sense.
Why doesn't it make any sense?
Well, I think the world's big and round and
Yeah, but-
one big oval.
But that's, I think, is not a reason. Why is that wrong?
So you're saying, so if I went to Antarctica,
Yes.
I could fall off the edge of the Earth.
Yes.
Have we ever heard any stories of people falling off the edge of the Earth at Antarctica?
Well, lots of people have been missing there, but at the same time,
I said
that doesn't
fall off the edge
disprove
of
it.
the Earth.
That doesn't disprove it because obviously Antarctica is very severe and people can't always go to the edge.
So if it was... So Antarctica, so in your mind, Antarctica is out on the edges of everything, correct?
Yes.
I just completely disagree with that completely.
Yeah, but
anyway.
why? You can't just say I disagree with it. The idea is
Well,
you have to give
because
reasons why.
Well, Antarctica is at the bottom of the circle, at the bottom of the globe of the world.
But that's
is.
only on the maps. Like at the end of the day, you have no proof that that's actually accurate.
Well, you can fly around the world.
And when have you done that?
Sorry?
When have you done that? When have you flown over Antarctica?
I didn't say I've flown around the world.
You haven't flown over Antarctica.
didn't
You've
say I've
flown
flown
from one
over
point to
Antarctica.
another. You haven't.
I've flown from different points around. I've flown around the world. That I have done. I've done a lap
No,
around
you think
the
you
globe.
have. You
I
think
have.
you have, but you
Yes,
haven't.
I have.
You haven't gone over Antarctica, have you?
Why would I go? I don't need to go over Antarctica.
Why not?
Because
Wouldn't
I
that
didn't
be
need to.
faster?
Not necessarily. Not if that's where I wanted. That was nowhere near where I was wanting to travel.
But technically, it would be faster to go that way. So why don't planes fly
Why
that
would
way?
it be faster to go under the?
If
under
it's
the world?
a perfect globe, then obviously if you're flying from
You don't need to fly. You don't need to fly over Antarctica to get to where you want to, because that's not always the quickest way to get there.
But if it was the quickest way, which clearly on a globe
Well,
it
if
would be.
if it was the quickest way, then yes.
Well, then
I
it
would.
would be in a globe. It
If it
would
was-
be to go from certain parts of the world to the other. It would be faster to go over Antarctica. So why don't they do that?
Well, because they just. I don't think they do it for safety reasons.
For safety reasons. Why?
No, I've heard that flights don't fly over Antarctica because it's too isolated and remote in case of emergencies. That's what I've heard. The
they
reason why
fly
they don't-
over the ocean,
Yeah, but apparently
which is also isolated and remote.
true. But apparently there's islands scattered where they can. I'm not a fucking aeronautical expert as to why they do certain things for whatever safety. There would be points where it would be faster to fly over Antarctica.
Again, yes, just proving that you made some stupid statements before.
Well, you're the one making stupid statements.
You're
that
the
you
one
think
who
the
said
Earth
that there
is
wouldn't
flat.
be faster way to go there. So
No, well, in certain scenarios, it
well, you
probably
just
would be.
admitted that you
But-
what you said was wrong.
No, but I'm saying in my scenario it wasn't, because I flew from
We weren't talking about your
from
specific
Australia
flights.
to America and to Europe.
We're
and
talking
then to
about
Asia
other
and back to it.
flights. Yes.
Well, they fly over the North Pole
So
because that's the quickest way to fly sometimes.
it's not the edge of the earth, obviously.
Well, there's no such thing as the edge of the Earth because
How?
the
Prove
globe
it.
is round.
Yeah. How?
So there's no such thing as the edge.
How?
Well, you can prove to me.
I already gave you proof.
How do you think
the
there's
fact
the
that we
edge?
don't fly over Antarctica?
Well, that's not proof.
It is proof.
So you're saying that, and so you're effectively saying that Antarctica is on the edge of everything.
Yes.
It's actually at the bottom of the world instead, which isn't the edge.
Who was to say that's the bottom and it's the edge?
Well, it's at the southern hemisphere or the southern pole, one way or another, whatever you want to call it.
But that's not proof.
Sorry.
That's not proof. Like I don't see you listing any proof that the world is actually round.
Well, it's round. Okay.
All you're saying is it's
the reason-
round
so the
because
reason-
I've seen globes
look-
before.
Well, in simple theory,
You're just saying that the government tells
sun,
the truth, so therefore it has to be accurate.
I'm not. I'm happy. I'm always happy to listen to other arguments, but when does it logically? In what logical scenario do you think the Earth is flat? Because
Well,
the
why
sun.
is it
Because the sun.
Why is it not? I can walk.
Because the Earth.
can-
The Earth goes around the sun and rotates.
How?
And that's how we get days and nights.
But
Because at
why,
some
but
point,
you're saying that would have to be the case. Why could it not move around a flat Earth?
because if the Earth was flat, right,
Yes.
and even if it was rotating around a sun, right, the Earth was pan flat, you'd be in daylight the whole time.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, you would.
No, you wouldn't.
Because if you're saying the Earth is flat like this, and you're saying Antarctica's on the edge, and it's rotating around like this, right? Then you're either going to get all day.
So you're
all
saying
night.
that the lights we're using go on to infinity.
That's what would happen if it was flat, but that
No, it
doesn't
wouldn't,
happen.
because the light wouldn't. Because as an example, this light doesn't travel to
no, but
North
I'm saying
Korea.
the light from the sun.
But I'm making the example that a light doesn't have to travel the full distance.
But
Clearly, this light doesn't travel to North Korea.
This light doesn't. But
But
if
somehow
you have,
the
if
sun,
you have light,
but
from a
somehow
sun,
the sun infinitely goes.
if
that
you're
way.
saying, that, do you think the Earth is flat like this?
It may be. It's flat.
So that's a flat, right? Which way do you think it rotates? Do you think it rotates?
Why does
like
it have to
that?
rotate?
So you don't think it rotates?
Why does the Earth have to?
Well, it doesn't have to. I'm just asking what you think.
Well, I'm just making the point that there is no reason to say that this definitely rotates.
Well, I would argue it rotates because it's a globe that rotates around itself because we get days and nights.
Yeah, but why?
Well, we get days and nights, and the Earth rotates around
Yeah, but
itself. That's how you
I'm
get day
giving
and
you
night.
the example of the fact that light does not travel to North
That light's
Korea.
actually irrelevant in this conversation.
It's not, because it's saying that the source of light. If we put that light, hang on. If we put that
That's
light,
the sun.
If we put that light here,
Yeah.
over there is going to be darkness.
Why?
Because the light doesn't travel from here, Australia, to North Korea, as an example.
Yes, it would.
Well, then why doesn't that light travel to North Korea?
If this whole thing is the flat Earth, the whole thing's going to be lit up.
Why does that light not travel to the fucking wall, the full distance?
Because that's the bloody rest of the galaxy.
It's not.
This
It's
is
the wall. We're talking about a light just here that doesn't travel the full distance to there. And you're telling me that therefore the sun has to...
brightnesses. That's because the different strength of light. That's just a stupid light.
Yes, but if you magnify it by whatever amount to become the sun...
So what shape do you think the Earth is?
I'm saying that a light doesn't have to have the full strength. If it's here, it's not going to have the same strength.
It should have the same strength.
Now you're making no fucking sense. If you put something there, a light there, it's not going to have the same strength if it was there.
Well, yeah, because light's got to travel further.
No shit. That's the point.
So that's why, right?
So therefore the sun won't reach the full distance.
So guess what? So when it rotates around itself,
That doesn't prove that it rotates.
Yes, it does. So
It doesn't. I'm saying it can move up and down. It doesn't have to
We
be.
need a tennis ball to throw at your head to prove something. We got a ball anywhere in here.
No.
Well, that proves Mr. Flat Earth here doesn't.
See, this is the thing. You're getting frustrated because you're losing the argument.
No,
here.
because he's got no.
You're making. You can't prove that it is round.
Where's a
Prove it's round.
Okay, where's a tennis ball?
I don't have one. How many
Alright.
times do I have to go over this?
No, I need a ball to prove this.
Well, you can't.
Can you
so.
pull your balls out, please, so
No.
we can prove it? So we can prove it.
My balls are flat, okay?
All right. So I'm going to turn this into a round object. So we have a round object here, right? This is a pretty weird looking Earth.
I don't know.
So we have a round object. Now your theory based on light that at further away, there's less light than closer, correct? It wouldn't be as bright. Did you say that before?
I don't know. So you're disputing that as a...
I know I'm asking, did you say that?
No, but I'm asking, are you disputing the fact that a light source is weaker further away?
No, I'm not disputing that.
Okay, well, then I don't understand what point you're trying to make. But yes, I said that a light source is less powerful further away.
So in that scenario, which is what the way the Earth works, rotating around itself, is that at this point, which is why we have time as well, normally the middle of the day.
Again, none of that affects the
Just
fact
shut up.
all of this could work in the flat Earth.
Just
This is
shut
the
it. No,
point.
no, it couldn't
You're
work.
not giving examples that prove it wrong.
So that at this point, at the middle of the day where the source of light is brightest, is why it's round. And as you rotate around, the source of light generally gets weaker. It strengthens up, so you get closer to the sun when you rotate. And then it goes away as you get further away from the sun to the point where you get past.
Yes, we all understand
point
what we're being
where-
taught, but you haven't given
Okay.
any reasoning. That doesn't just parroting some
You're
theory.
saying
I'm
that
saying,
the
give it
Earth
here, give it
is
here, give
flat
it here,
like
give it here.
this.
I am saying that the fact that the sun is weak and strong at different times doesn't mean anything, because if the sun is located here and then the sun is located there, it's going to be significantly different
Yeah,
in its strength.
okay, of course they will be, but there'll still be sunlight the whole time, won't
No,
there?
there wouldn't be.
There'll just be different variants
We just
of light.
made the example of the fact that that light isn't
but
traveling
there
to
won't
North.
be any darkness, though. Do you
There
think
would-
there'll be darkness?
Again, that light doesn't travel to North Korea, so whether it is on or off doesn't affect the brightness in North Korea.
Yes, it would.
You're saying that light is turning on the fucking North Korea.
That thing's the sun, right?
Yeah.
And even if you rotate it like a saucepan around itself, you're going to have light on that entire surface the whole time. The strength of the light on that surface will be different depending on which part of it is closer, correct?
Well, the end part of that is correct. Yes, depending on which is closer. Yes.
But it's always going to have light on it.
No, it's not
Yes, it
necessarily.
will.
Well,
If you have direct vision to something that is a light source, there will always be light on it.
do you realize how stupid of an argument you're making? If you're a kilometer away, that light is not going to affect anything.
We're talking about the brightness from the sun.
Yes, but it's the same theory. You're just magnifying it. That's hundreds and thousands of kilometers. We're talking about this in example. The fact that if you're far enough from away from the light source, it doesn't make
The
it
only
day.
time there's no daylight is when the sun isn't in view anymore, because you've rotated away from the sun.
Because it's so far away.
Because
it's
you've rotated
so far away.
around.
But if it gets
the
far
sun
enough
is not in
away,
view.
if it gets far enough
No,
away, it
you've
doesn't matter.
rotated around. So
If
you
the
can't
sun
see
is
it.
far enough away, you don't have
It's
to
not
see it.
correct.
It's true.
No, it's not. Anyway, we can agree to we can fucking
I
argue
don't
and agree to
understand how
disagree
you
about
don't
this
get
the whole
fact
time.
that lights further away cannot be seen.
What do you mean? Of course, it can be seen.
It can't. We're going.
Something as bright as the sun can be seen if a light source.
Not if you're far enough away.
But there'll
So
still
you're saying there
always
is
be
nowhere
light.
you could possibly go where the sun wouldn't be visible.
You'll always have a light source.
There is nowhere you could possibly go where the sun wouldn't be visible.
Well, if you're saying it's flat, then the sun's
So
always
you're
going to be up.
saying no matter where you go in space, you're always going to see the sun.
If you're behind the sun,
So no matter how far away you go, you're going to be able to see the sun.
if you're in front, then you'll always see it. If you're behind Earth, if you've got something between it that's round that blocks it, then you won't see it.
Then how come other stars don't light up the whole Earth if supposedly...
Well, they're not bright enough.
Okay. So you're saying that no matter how far away you
But
go from the
the
sun...
the light source of the sun is always bright enough. It
But-
generates so much light that if you have
That's a different-
something that's flat, if you have something that's flat, it'll always have light to it.
But if you go far enough away from the sun, it isn't bright enough.
Well, you're talking about Earth here, which is close enough to the sun.
Well, I'm saying that maybe it's not. Maybe you can go far enough that when the sun goes to the one very extreme side of Earth, then you don't see it.
Well, why don't you go to Antarctica and find that out?
Because you're not allowed to.
Yes, you can go to Antarctica.
You can only go to certain parts, and you can't
Well,
just
you can go
randomly
to
go
Antarctica.
there. You can't go to the edge.
You can't go to the edge.
Yes.
Why can't you go to the? What do you
Because they
think is
don't
the
want you
edge?
to find out the fact that
I've
the
never even
world is
heard of
flat.
this thing as such as the edge, but anyway,
Because
it
you
doesn't
can't.
exist.
But you can't.
Why?
Because
Why don't you
the
go
government
for-
won't let you.
Oh, you.
They won't though.
Your theories and conspiracies that someone won't let you.
But they don't. That doesn't disprove
Well, why don't
the
you
fact
go
that
full off? Why don't you take? Why
you
don't
haven't
you
given
take a
any
camera
proof.
with you?
You haven't given any proof that the
I don't
world is
need
actually
to
round.
because the simple fact is.
But this is the whole
the
fucking
Earth-
point of this. Is you're
the
meant
Earth,
to,
ro-
you
the Earth
dumb
rotates.
fuck.
The Earth rotates around itself, and that's why we have day. That's why we have
Yeah, but
daylight.
You're
night
just
and day.
parroting random information without giving any facts as to why this is wrong.
I'm just proving to. I'm just.
You're not
proving to
proving
you.
anything.
I just did.
You didn't.
If the Earth was flat, you're gonna have daylight the
If
whole
you were
time.
proving it, you would give an example that I couldn't
just
dispute.
did.
You didn't. You didn't give a single example I
I just
couldn't
said
dispute.
if the Earth's flat like that, then you'd have daylight the whole time, even if it was rotating around.
But again,
itself.
it wouldn't because of the fact that how far away the light source is.
Sorry, the light source doesn't mean shit
It
in this
does.
case. No,
it does because
doesn't.
if the light source is far away, it's not strong and therefore it becomes dark.
Well, that's just crap. But the
But
light
it's true.
source, the light source of the sun is strong enough, so that's not actually a relevant point.
It is a relevant point.
The only time your stupid Earth thing, gets dark, right, is if the flatness decides to tip itself upside down, then everyone's fucked. But that just doesn't happen
Again,
because it rotates around
You haven't
itself.
given any proof to say that.
Well, I've just basically proved that the Earth is
You
round.
haven't proved anything.
I have.
You haven't. See,
Well, we
this
have
is again going back
daylight,
to the fact
we have-
that there
we
is
have daylight,
You can't prove it. You're
have
just
sun
saying
during the
you're
day
just
and we have
saying what-
darkness
you're
at
just
night and
saying what you're
everything
being
rotates
told.
around
You
itself.
have no proof at all.
Well, that seems pretty logical to me.
Yeah, but you have no
What
proof
happens?
of that. Plenty of things that seem logical aren't accurate.
Sorry?
Plenty of things that seem logical aren't accurate.
Sometimes that's the case, but
So your
This
only
works in
your
this-
only reason for it being
Well, can't-
true
well-
is because
well-
it seems logical.
Well, see, you think the Earth's flat because you don't think the light from the sun can actually get to certain places. There is absolutely no logic in what you're saying.
No, I was
there
just
at all.
disputing your example.
Well,
You gave one reason why the Earth was round, and I gave an explanation of how that would be inaccurate.
No, you didn't really.
I did.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You didn't.
I did.
No, you didn't.
I did. I explained
You
how
couldn't-
the
you couldn't come up with anything that logically.
well.
questioned.
It's a little bit hard to explain to someone who doesn't understand how a light
Well, you
works.
don't. Well, you're the
You're the one who
who's-
thinks that light goes to North Korea.
Well,
This
no,
light
you
source
think-
here now is powering up North Korea.
Well, you
according to
think no, you're the one who was saying that, not me.
No, you were, and I'm explaining to you that's effectively what you're saying. Is
Well,
that that light is
that's a light in this room here.
yeah, but
That's not the sun that has way more power.
but the sun, just because it has more power, doesn't mean it's going to light up the whole thing.
Well, that's what the sun does.
In your theory,
The sun lights up things that
Well,
are
it doesn't.
facing it.
even in your own theory, it doesn't light up
Yes,
the whole world.
Not at once, but it lights up it lights up the parts of the world that are facing it.
It only lights up parts of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it's round, because it only lights the parts up the parts of the world that are facing it at any one point.
But the same could be achieved with what was near it.
What do you mean?
Given that a light only lights up what's near it, whether you magnify
I didn't
that
say
to whatever,
near it, I said facing it. That's not the same. That's
Yes,
two
but
separate things.
I know, and I'm saying that both could be an explanation of what you've described as the only reason why the world is round.
That's you only need that is the reason why the world is round.
But that's not a reason why the world is
Yeah,
round.
it is.
That's not.
That's why it's always changing where the light is facing,
It's
because
not.
it rotates around itself.
Look, at the end of the day, I think we've proved that you cannot disprove the flat Earth. So
Well, I just disproved
score
the flat
one.
Earth.
You
but
didn't.
anyway.
You didn't give an example that disproved it.
Here's your flat Earth. That's your flat surface. There's the light source of the sun. you'd never have darkness.
There's darkness there right now. You fucking idiot.
Well, that's because we've got a shadow in the way.
Oh, so
Well, that's because the shadow.
So there are several ways.
So look, if it's flat like that, is there anything in the way there?
So
is there anything in the way of that?
Hang on. So you just proved that there gave another example as to how there could be darkness.
That's the microphone, you idiot, that was in the way.
So
I'm holding the surface here in front of the light, which we think is the sun. Is there anything in the way of that light source now?
So coming back to
No. Answer my question.
There are parts of that are dark.
What?
There are parts of that
That's because
are dark.
I'm not holding it completely flat.
Yeah, and obviously
that's because I can't hold the thing completely.
And obviously,
flat. All right, I'll hold my phone, which is dead flat. Is there any part?
No.
Well,
you just disproved your own theory because you're now talking about. No one is saying.
The entire thing is. So guess what?
No.
From that is getting every part
where
of
you've
flat
just fucked
surface.
up. Can you let me explain?
No, you didn't. I was holding
Let
it behind
me fucking
the
explain.
No, because you're actually wrong.
If I'm wrong, let me embarrass myself and explain.
All right, start explaining your stupid theory.
So part one, by actually doing this example, you've just proved that there are other ways to achieve darkness. All you're doing is embarrassing yourself because you're getting proved that the earth is flat. And at the same time, also, when you didn't hold it evenly, because that
means the earth isn't flat.
No one is saying the earth is perfectly flat.
Well, and you're a flat earth theorist. That's what you think.
I'm not saying it's perfectly flat. There are clearly hills and mountains and all that shit.
Oh, so that means it does make it round.
How does that make it round? There can be hills.
You're not a flat...
You don't believe that it's a perfect...
You just disproved your own theory.
No, I haven't.
You're not a flat earth person anymore because you said there's hills and mountains. Well, there we go. That's a wonderful way to end it. Our flat theory expert thinks there are hills and mountains, so the earth is not flat according to him.
Then it's not perfectly round either, you dumb fuck.
I never said the
I
earth
never said it was
global.
Perfectly flat either.
You thought you're a flat theory expert.
Oh my God, the idea of being flat is not the fact that it's perfect, centimeter perfectly flat. It's the fact that there are hills and you're actually making the argument even dumber, which is again, so by being hills and mountains and shit, darkness can appear. Things can move in front of it. So you've actually, by doing this example, you've given examples of how the sun can be achieved in a flat earth.
But it keeps rotating around itself, right?
Prove that. How do you know that?
Well, the sun just sets over the ocean each time.
Again, we've already gone over this. You gave examples yourself of how.
Well, that's how because that's how it works.
But that's the thing. Just because that's how it works doesn't actually mean that that's the case.
Well, that's simply how it works. So your flat theory proves.
Well, thank you very much for proving that you cannot disprove the flat earth.
Anyway, the flat earth stuff is ridiculous. So.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Anyway.
You're only adding credence to the fact that it's real.
No, it is stupidity, to be honest.
Well, you can't say that when you can't explain how it's not.
I'm going to bring in a tennis ball next time to make you look really stupid.
You need a tennis ball to prove it.
Well, a tennis
ball is all that's holding you back.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Because a tennis ball is a globe and you can just simply show that how everything works then.
That's all that's holding you back is missing the tennis ball.
Oh, I haven't got a bloody tennis ball or something around of any description.
Well, there we go. Marcus cannot disprove the flat earth without a tennis ball, which somehow is going to change everything.
You can't even prove it in the first place.
Well, no, the whole idea was for you to prove it wrong because this is meant to be the traditionally right.
Well, the world is round. We have wonderful days and nights.
And no, it's not. You didn't give any proof of that.
So
in conclusion, you gave no proof that the world is actually round. I don't even believe the earth is flat, but it's just too easy to actually argue the fact that
if
you're wrong.
If it was flat, it'd be like this.
It wouldn't, because there are mounds and all that kind of shit. And even on that,
there's mounds and
there
shit.
is darkness in parts of that.
So that's because,
Yeah.
Well, that's flat, right?
Yeah.
Does that rotate or not?
So that's your perfectly flat thing. And
Does it rotate?
Whether it rotates or anything is irrelevant. That doesn't mean that.
So if it's flat, even if it did this, of course, if there's mountains, there's going to be slightly varying sources of light depending on mountains and whether you're behind it.
No shit.
But if you go to certain,
You just said before the fact that there were mounds and everything proved that the Earth was round.
But if you've got this flat, but if you've got what you think is, even if you stuck stupid shit to make it mountains here, then it
Do you want to see how easy?
the world rotates.
Look at how easy this is to bring darkness. Hold that up.
You just throw shit straight up.
Darkness. Hello, darkness, my old friend. There you go.
So you think something comes over the sun and just darkness each time?
We'll prove there isn't.
Well, is that what you think, Mr.
No, I'm just
Flat
saying
Earth?
that there is no.
Well,
You have no proof
I just
that
think
that's not the case. I just came up and gave you
So
examples.
my theory is
I-
simple, that the Earth is round. So.
Yeah, but you don't have anything to support this theory,
Well,
and that's the whole point.
my theory is simple. When you rotate something around itself and there's a light source coming from one direction, the light source can only get so far. And then when you turn away from the light source, you don't have light anymore.
But that doesn't prove that the world is round.
Yes,
I gave
it does.
you. It doesn't. I gave you countless examples that also could be
Yes,
true.
it does. So
But
There you go.
that's not proof.
anyway, we can continue this flat Earth discussion at another point. I'm going to bring in a tennis ball
No,
next
time we're discussing a different conspiracy theory
All right.
where you're going to have
Anyway,
to try to explain to me why
you're
it's
wrong again because the Earth is
No,
round.
there is no evidence that you gave that I was wrong.
Well, you were, but anyway, you can have your flat theory.
The thing is that I
expert.
actually don't even believe the world is flat, except for the fact that you can't prove the fact that it's round. And that's the point.
Well, I
here.
just did, but anyway.
You didn't do
With
that.
simple logic.
You gave no logic.
You have
that proved
day
it.
and night, and you have something. You have day and night, which the sun is.
But I
and
gave
you have the Earth
I explained
rotating
to you how
around to create that day.
I
and
explained you how day and night can exist in a flat Earth. So you haven't given any proof that it's not flat.
night. Anyway, the Earth is round
Okay,
because
so
of the timing of everything.
thank you very much, everyone. The Earth is flat. We've all approved it. So well done.